Okay, well, thank you for doing this interview.
Yes,
I'm
of
so
course.
glad you're here. Can I just get you to like state your name, the year you graduated, and any college degrees you might have?
Yes, my name is Danielle Weiser. I graduated in 2011 with my associates in dental hygiene back at Erie Community College.
Where is that at?
That's in Buffalo, New York.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Far from
Yeah.
here.
So I've been doing this over 12 years now.
Is that the only college degree you have, or do
Yep.
you? Yeah.
Went right into dental hygiene
Yeah.
school. So.
What would you say your job consists of?
Oh man, lots of things. I would say the biggest thing now is your patient's overall health. Obviously focusing on their oral health, but really helping patients to see the importance of their oral health in their overall health. I do a lot of scaling and root planings and periodontal maintenances. So mostly working with patients that have active disease and infection and helping them to manage it, as well as understand what it is and why they do need to manage it and why it is so important to their system with inflammation and disease.
Okay. What do you think was the most important factor to being successful in dental hygiene school?
In school, resilience, persistence. It's hard. They make you, there's a lot to learn and get done in generally a short amount of time. So giving yourself grace on those hard days of school and knowing that, one bad day or bad grade, you can come back from it. So I think resilience was huge. Finding like a group that you study with, that you kind of keep accountable with, was huge in school. So I really would say that doing those things in school is helpful. Accountability and just being resilient and keeping at it.
Did you work while you were in hygiene school?
I did, but I worked, when I went to school, I went full time with my prereqs with hygiene school. So I went to school from like 8 to 8 for 4 of the days, and then just took a regular 8 to 5 on Friday. And so I had a lot of, and so I worked, but it was at an ice cream store, and I worked 11 to 11 Saturday and Sunday. And then I was in school from like 8 to 8 Monday to Friday. Yeah.
What are some of the biggest barriers or obstacles you have faced before and during dental hygiene school?
Before and during, so school specifically. Obstacles beforehand was knowing if I was choosing the right career for myself, right? You're like, is this what I want to do? Am I going to be good at it? And so I would say beforehand, that was the biggest thing, where I was kind of wondering if this was good, because I didn't do dental assisting beforehand. I graduated high school and I got into hygiene school. So that was my biggest obstacle, was wondering if this was going to be like a good career for myself. And then I guess the biggest obstacle in school was worrying about the difference between school and real life. They teach you a lot of things, and then as you're in school and learning, and you've been to the dentist before, you know how things are run, and so then as you're learning and they're giving you hours upon hours to clean patients' teeth, you're kind of worried about like, how am I going to transfer this to the real life? And what am I going to really use of all of this stuff that I'm learning, and be able to apply what I learned with patients in real time. So I feel like that was one of my biggest worries. I mean, it all ended up being fine, but in the moment, I feel like that was probably my biggest fear, worry, struggle.
What made you realize that hygiene was like the career for you? Like that's what you wanted to do?
So when I decided what I was trying to go to school for, at first I knew I wanted to be like in the healthcare industry, and actually initially I thought about applying to nursing school, and my mom and a few of my aunts worked in hospitals, respiratory therapists, nurses, that sort of things, and they all kind of talked me out of it. They were like, it's a great job at first, but like if you work at a hospital, you get crappy hours and holidays, and like as you get older, your body's tired, and that's where they were. And so now they were like, just maybe think about something else. And so my mom actually mentioned dental in general and doing something along those lines. And so I just did research on schools near me, because at where I was at in life, I was gonna have to pay for my own college, and I needed to be able to afford it. So they did have a dental hygiene school program near me, and so I could stay living at home, and you know, I just took out a few school loans, but I was able to pay it back within like a decent amount of time. So when I found out that there was a hygiene program, I went to my dentist of, you know, since I was little, and I asked him if I could like shadow and talk to his hygienist that I've been seeing for forever. And so I did, and I was like, this is interesting. And I always liked teeth. I was like that girl that wanted braces, and I had to have a few different like little surgeries to get my teeth how they are. And it was I had to wear headgear. I had I had all kinds of stuff. So I liked my teeth. And so I was like, well, I like teeth, and I like taking care of mine. So school was close to home, affordable. It seemed like it made sense, so I was like, well, I guess I'll apply. They only accepted like X amount per year, like I'm sure they do here. Yeah. And I was like, well, if I get in, then I guess once I start, you'll find out if you like it or not. So I just kind of had faith, and it's like, God's got a plan, and we'll see if this works out. Yeah. So
now that you're in the field, what would you say the most challenging part of being a dental hygienist is? Like personally,
oh my goodness. Few things. I would say one is sometimes that work-life balance. You know, when I first started and I was a hygienist, I didn't have a family and kids, and I worked at smaller offices that it was pretty much you got out at a decent hour and it wasn't too crazy. And then as you try to find like what gives you purpose in your career, it generally means you're gonna do more at your job, and you know, which is great. But at the same sense, now where I'm at, especially with the culture that we have here on focusing on that mouth-body connection, it puts so much more on your plate as you're talking with your patients. It's not just like clean your teeth, get in, get out. You know, you're looking at their health history, you're going over systemic things, you're trying to educate them on what you're seeing and why it's important. So having to do all of those things in an hour is hard. And then that means generally that like in between patients, you know, I used to have time to flip my room and write my notes and like stay on track. And now it's a good thing, I guess, that I prioritize my patient care and the quality of care that I'm giving someone, but it makes for really long days where I'm generally, you know, working halfway through lunch, staying with my notes, and staying a little bit late to catch up on things and follow up with patients, and my salivary testing. So my job has a lot to it. That's the rewarding part. That's also the hard part. But I think now I usually work 3 or 4 days a week, where before I was doing 4 or 5. And that got a little bit too much when I wasn't on home in time for dinner. It was hard to get my daughter from daycare. And so you have to prioritize your home life over your work life, which can be hard sometimes when you enjoy your job and you want to do those things, but you also don't want to miss out on your family and your life and friends, and feeling like you have the energy to show up for them when you go home, because a lot of us spend so much of our energy at home, and then we go to our family and we give them, you know, the crap end. The bare minimum. And so being able to find that balance has been difficult, but it's necessary. And I think when you talk to team members, it helps to let them know what you're going through, and if you can find an office that supports that, you know, you found a good one.
What advice would you give me before starting dental hygiene school?
Man, I guess you personally, I mean, I know you're here doing assisting, so I would imagine that you like it. You seem passionate about it. You seem excited, which is great. So I think my advice to you is to remember how you feel now when it's hard and you're in school. You know, looking sometimes too far down the road can also be hard. So sometimes focusing on daily goals and small wins in school versus trying to look too far ahead can get overwhelming. So I would say my advice to you for school is a day at a time. If you can write down your why or your purpose, like why are you choosing to go to dental hygiene school and what do you want to get out of it, and keep it on like a note card in your lunchbox or on your mirror at home or something along those lines, to on those days that are tough, remind yourself why you're doing it, and hopefully that'll help you get through it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for letting me interview. Everything was so helpful. Thank you. I will keep everything in mind.
Awesome. Happy to help.